Hello you guys, Miss Steele here. I'm down here at the bottom. This thing right next to me is recording what I'm doing with my hands. So this week we are talking about pattern. We have been going through the elements of art. We have looked at line, shape, color, texture, and now we're jumping over to the principles of design, and we are talking about pattern. So pattern is any element that repeats itself. So you could repeat colors, shapes, lines, designs, anything that is repetitious, that repeats itself is a pattern. For this project, you will need a white paper. This is going to be our background. A second piece of white paper, only smaller. And wouldn't you guess it? A third piece of white paper. We are going to color all of these and make them super colorful. But this is what we need. We also need a pencil and an eraser. Erase that. We need scissors. Yes, we do need scissors. I thought about it for a second. We need glue. And then you need something to color with. I have crowns and markers, but you can use whatever you have to color with. I also have a pattern example sheet next to me, but you guys should be able to find these on Schoology. So, moving all of this stuff out of the way, we just need our big white piece of paper. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a pattern background. We're going to take this and create a 3D mug after we color it. And then we're going to use this to cut out a handle. But those are all steps along the way. First, we need to create our background. And we're talking about pattern, so I want to see a pattern background. Your first step is going to be drawing a line for your table. So this is something that our cup later on can sit on. So this is our table that I drew. And then for your background and for your table, you can do whatever pattern you want. I think for my table, I'm going to add in a pattern that makes it look like wood. I'm going to add in these kind of weird sort of wiggly squiggly lines like you see on this table to make this look like wood. So I'm going to turn it to the side. I'm going to grab my brown marker. I'm going to show you guys this part just because you might want to draw wood too. And then for this part, you can do whatever pattern you want. So if you see, we have all of these lines. So what you want to do to create a wood pattern is kind of start making some wavy lines next to each other. But if you see, wood also has these kind of like rings. So I also kind of make wibbly wobbly circles. And that's what I do to create my wood texture. Like that. Outline this. And then I'm going to go through and keep adding in all of these different kind of wood-shaped lines. I'm going to do some thinner, some thicker, to kind of give it some variation in the lines that we're looking at. So we have that. I'm going to color this brown, and then we're going to start working on our pattern up here. For our pattern right here, you can do whatever pattern you want to do. I think I'm going to do kind of like classic sort of stripes, almost to make it look like it is wallpaper. People used to use wallpaper instead of paint because you could get all of these crazy designs on wallpaper. But wallpaper kind of became less popular, and not a lot of people use it now. But it's literally when you would glue paper to your wall that had kind of crazy designs. So there's my orange stripes. I think I want to go back and add more to this. I want this to be a pretty detailed pattern. So I think I'm going to add some circles in between here. So really, this is almost like two patterns. So I'm going to go through and keep doing that, and then I'm going to get this all colored in, and then we'll move on to the next step, which will be our mug. It can be a coffee mug, a cocoa mug, whatever kind of mug you want it to be. All right, the background is all colored in and finished, so we'll need this, but later. Now, I want to take we have one small piece of paper that's more squarish, and then we have one that's longer, and this longer one is what is going to become our mug. So what I want to do to this one is I want to add a pattern. We have a pattern on the background. We're going to add a pattern on the mug. I think I'm going to do more than one pattern. I think I'm going to get a little crazy with this. I think that, and you guys can make yours literally however you want. You just want to make for sure you have those patterns in. I think I'm going to take the top and the bottom, and I'm going to make them look like sprinkles. And then in this middle part, I think I'm going to do a different pattern than the sprinkles. I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to work on these two and think about what pattern I want to do right here. And then I will be back with sprinkles and another pattern started, hopefully. Okay, so I have this done. Now I think I want to do hearts along the top and the bottom inside. So my next pattern is going to be these heart shapes. Hopefully I can make them all look good. So I'm going to add hearts here, and then I don't know what pattern I want to do right here in the middle. I'm still deciding. All right, so we are almost done. I think that I'm going to do a line design in yellow, and that's going to be kind of my final pattern I'm going to add on. Now I think I might actually leave this part of my mug white instead of coloring it in, but you can definitely color in all of this. But I did yellow, so I want to be able to still see it. Maybe I'll add in something else. Maybe I'll add dots along. Really, whenever you're creating patterns, especially whenever I was working on this mug, I kind of just kept adding stuff in. Even more patterns. So although you only need one pattern for this, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, bunch of patterns. So what we want to do now is we want to take this and get it put on here. So what you want to do to put it together is you want to flip it over, and you want to take your two ends and fold it in. You want to make for sure it's even. I'm making for sure it's all lined up. I did about as much as my knuckle, so about 1 inch. And then on the other side, I do it as well. So we have both sides folded. Now what you want to do is take your glue, and I'm actually just going to put glue on one side to start because I think it's easier that way. And then you want to figure out where you want your mug to be. You can kind of move it in, and then these flaps that we have at the bottom are what's going to hold everything down. So I think like maybe right here. So then what I do is I take it and I push it. Glue doesn't work like magic, although I wish it did, and I want this to stick. So we have this side down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the other side right here and do the same thing. And I'm going to put some glue on there so it will stick. Not too much, don't want it to be sticky icky. And then I'm going to bring it around, and then I'm going to put my hand inside and hold it down that way. You guys can see there's the flap right there, and that's what I'm pressing down on. And there you go. Now we got our popped out 3D mug. I'm going to set this aside because we don't need this right now. What we need is this last piece of paper. And what I'm going to do with this last piece of paper, if you guys remember it's a square shape, I'm going to cut out a handle for my mug, and then with any leftover white paper, it took me a second there, I'm going to cut it out and glue it up here so it kind of almost looks like it's steamy, like there's something inside. So, to draw my handle, I'm going to draw it from the side. You can make your handle however you want to make your handle, but I think I'm going to make mine bumpy. What you want to start out with is a pretty big half circle on the side. I'm going to hold it up and see if that is a good size handle, or if that's too big. That's too big. So I'm going to make it smaller now. But I'm going to do the same thing, where I want mine to be bumpy. And after you have the line that you need, you want to make another line repeating on the inside because we want the inside to be cut out. So I'm going to color this in, and then I'm going to cut it out, and we're going to put it on our mug. All right, so I got my handle all cut out, but it's not going to glue on there just like normal. So we're going to do the same thing and fold some tabs like we did inside here to get this glued on here. So I'm going to take my edge, and I'm going to fold a little bit of it back right there. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm going to add some glue. I added a dot. And then I'm going to take it and pinch it onto the side so I can have a handle for my mug. So if you can see, I'm just pinching it over here and holding it for a second so it stays. Like I said earlier, glue doesn't work like magic, even though I wish it did. All right. So now we have the handle for our mug, and I have some leftover white paper that I'm going to use, but if you guys don't have any leftover white paper or you want to skip this step, you definitely can. But what I want to do is I want to draw some almost like squiggly shapes like this, and I want that to kind of look like steam coming from my mug. If you wanted to make your steam curly like that, you can make it curly like that if you wanted. Might be kind of hard to cut out though. All right, I'm going to cut these out, and then we're going to glue them on, and then we will be done. And this is just the leftover paper from where I cut out my handle over here. All right, so I cut out 2 swirly ones and then 2 just kind of wiggly ones. And then I am going to glue these down onto here so it can look like my hot cup of cocoa has some steam coming off of it. Like that. And then I'm just going to glue it on top. I'm going to do the same with the other ones. Maybe I'll have that one right there. I'm going to do this one a little bit higher right there. And then I'm going to do the last one right there in the middle. Yep. Maybe I want it farther out. Maybe right there. Clean up some of that glue. Press these down, make for sure that they're stuck on there good. Clean up any goopy glue that I might have hanging out. All right. So that is it. That is our pattern 3D mug of cocoa. We did our background, we did our mug, we did our handle, and that's it. If you hold it up, you can see inside of it. I'm excited to see how your guys' come out. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your morning, your evening, your afternoon, and I will see you guys next time. I just am so obsessed with these. I'm excited to see how your guys' come out. All right. Goodbye, you guys. Have a wonderful rest, as I said earlier, of your morning, your evening, your afternoon. See you next time.